Hello and welcome to the Expert Speaker Podcast. Our amazing, incredible guest here today is Ruby Fremon. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so great to chat with you today. And for those watching on video, Majeed is wearing the best jacket I've ever seen in my entire life. And I kind of want
one.
Well,
it's a special day here at the Expert Speaker Institute. I'm wearing the disco ball hoodie. Ruby Fremon, thank you for taking the time. Founder of the Thought Leader Collective. Mm-hmm. You've built an incredible brand yourself. You've built an incredible business with a live event and a podcast. And now you're building an even bigger movement with a book coming out. Congratulations. I want to talk to you today about how it all got started and how you built this amazing business of yours, and also your lifestyle, we were talking just before we hit press record. Mm-hmm. Let's talk business. Let's talk lifestyle, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah. Let's talk business and lifestyle.
How did it all get started for you?
It all got started for me, just me being on my own personal journey and being super transparent about it online. So I was sharing a lot of what I was going through. I was working as a nightlife promoter, and I was sharing about my addiction. I was sharing about what I was dealing with. I was sharing about dipping my toes in personal growth and what I was learning. And I realized by showing up transparently online, it was serving a lot of people. I would get DMs from people, from world-renowned artists and DJs that I had produced their shows, and they'd reach out to me saying, thank you. Like, I really resonate with that. Like, this is what I'm going through. And I realized that there's something to this transparency game. Like, there's something about showing up in vulnerable ways that creates connection. And so from there, I decided to get into coaching. Because I wanted to do something with my story after really healing a lot of different parts of me. I went back to school, became a certified life coach, dipped my toes into NLP, became certified in that, really dove head first into the personal development space, and started coaching at the end of 2014. Actually, December 2014 is when I actually officially started. And for me, it was all about giving my life meaning, giving my life purpose, and being able to do something with the experiences that I had lived through. I didn't want to think about my life serving no purpose. For me, it was like I had been through everything I'd been through. I'd experienced everything I'd experienced for a reason, for a purpose. And if I can serve someone, if I can support someone, if I can help someone, then that would mean the world to me. That would mean that I could connect the dots and everything makes sense. So that's what really got me into coaching. And then from there, it's just been an experiment, to be honest.
Yeah. Cool. So you got personal results yourself, mm-hmm. You shared transparently, and that resonated and connected with people. You found that you had a bit of a gift to communicate.
Yes.
On a new platform called social media.
Mm-hmm.
And you were compelled to communicate not because, hey, I want to start a coaching business and I need to figure out how to get clients, but instead you were coming from the place of just feeling compelled to share your journey and your wisdom.
Yeah, I literally started on Tumblr as an anonymous blog, because on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram didn't exist back then, or did it? I don't know. It did exist back then. Everything was nightlife. Like my whole life on social media, my whole presence was nightlife. I was a nightlife producer. I was, the girl you want to be friends with because she'd let you in all the cool clubs and all the cool concerts. And so I didn't want to share on these platforms. So I started a Tumblr blog, and it was completely anonymous. So I felt really free to just fully express what I was feeling. And for me, my entire life story has been not feeling like I have a voice. I was raised as a Punjabi Sikh. I'm 100% Punjabi and Sikh. And in our culture, we're not, women are not really encouraged to speak our minds and speak our truths. And, our parents plan out a path for us. And of course, me being the rebel that I am, I didn't follow that path, but I was shunned for it my entire life. I was shunned for using my voice my entire life. So by the time I got into my 20s, I wasn't using my voice. And so by the time I reached my 30s and hit rock bottom and started this journey and started opening up on Tumblr, that was really the first time I was experiencing using my voice. And it wasn't as bold as I am now, or as real, but it was a place where I could experiment with using my voice. And one day I just became brave enough to share a Tumblr blog on Facebook. And that's when everyone else saw it. And that's when I started to see, okay, this is what creates connection. And connection is the thing that I've been wanting my entire life. And the reason I haven't had it is because I've been hiding behind masks and I just don't know who I am. And so it just provided me an opportunity to really understand the power of voice. Because when we use our voices in a truthful, honest, raw way, we're actually able to really connect with people. So my business was started not from me just sharing about my services. It was just about initiating conversations and discussions that people weren't feeling free enough to talk about themselves.
Mm-hmm. So you were open for these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
You were sharing your voice openly online, and you've either developed or you had the right mindset to sort of be okay with whatever kind of fears would be coming up. I'm just thinking for the listener, for myself, for my clients,
Mm-hmm.
when we have a message we want to share, but it may be we're afraid if we say it as truthfully and raw, as you say,
Mm-hmm.
that all sorts of bad things are going to happen. Like, people aren't going to like me anymore, or
Mm-hmm.
I'll upset people, or all the other reasons why we may not speak the truth. Do you have a process, a method, or some wisdom about how do I access that? And, if I'm maybe doubting, is it really worth it for me to speak my truth online or on stage or however else? What's the process of going from afraid to speak my truth to boldly showing up?
Yeah. So I like to describe it like a Band-Aid. Like you have a Band-Aid, it's covering a cut, the cut's healed. You're ready to take the Band-Aid off. You're a little afraid because it might pull off like all the hairs on your leg or something like that. It might hurt. You could sit there and you can think about it all you want. You can meditate yourself into the Zen-like state to try and imagine that the pain isn't going to happen, or you can just rip the fucking Band-Aid off.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to rip the fucking Band-Aid off. I mean, I think in the personal development and spiritual development space, there's a lot of talk about, oh, let's get you into this state of like being fully confident and being able to speak your truth and being able to put yourself out there. And it's like, that shit doesn't happen. That shit happens through actual integration, through taking action, through putting yourself out there. So the more and more you start to speak your voice online, maybe it's just through a written post, and then you start to do videos, and then you start to do a podcast, and then you start to speak on stages, whatever it is. But the more you start to put yourself out there, the more you start to realize just how resilient you are. And that's the only way for you to really uncover what is actually holding you back. Because when you challenge yourself in that way, when you challenge yourself to show up no matter what, you'll hear those voices in your head, and you'll see where these things are coming from. For me, it always came down to my upbringing. For me, it was like the fear of being shunned, the fear of being unliked, the fear of being of not being loved. Well, because when I spoke my truth growing up, there was a challenge made by my parents of like, this isn't acceptable, and if something's not acceptable, then you're not loved, right? And that's our basic human need. We all share it as human beings, and so we need to be able to prove to ourselves a different story, and that can only happen by taking the action that you've been avoiding taking.
Which in many of our cases is speaking the truth.
Yeah, we're just showing up, right? Like just
Mm-hmm.
showing up.
So Ruby, tell me about, as you were building your business,
Mm-hmm.
you had some opportunities to speak,
Yes.
and you also hosted a live event, which I've seen through some beautiful videos and some beautiful photos. It looks like it's very well done, well attended. What was that journey like? Landing speaking engagements and finding opportunities to get in front of audiences. How did that play a role in as you were building your business?
Well, there was one event that I was invited to for free, which was the Archangel Mastermind. This was like January 2015, I want to say. And I was super brand spanking new to everything. Very intimidated as I walk into the room with all these people who have like great businesses. And here I am, like super timid, still like trying to get my business together and create something. And they had a really cool concept at this mastermind where everyone had, I think it was like 2 minutes on stage to share something. And so I got an opportunity to get up on stage and share something that I had rehearsed over and over and over and over and over again. But it was a phenomenal opportunity because I got to stand up on stage in front of a crowd of people who intimidated me, who I was intimidated by,
Right.
and that was really such a phenomenal experience that helped me realize that, if I can do this, then I can do a lot of other things. And I had my whole focus at the beginning with my business was online platforms because I was a great writer. And so I started getting featured on different platforms. And then 2016 came along and I got asked through LinkedIn, because I post regularly on LinkedIn, by someone I don't know to speak at an event called the Epic Mastermind in San Diego. And so I said yes. I went to that, and that was my first time being given an actual like stage time, where I got to be with the crowd and be in the room and really experience what I'm like on stage. And that was amazing. I loved it because I have such an online presence. It felt great to be able to connect with the energy of the room in person. And from there, I really understood my love for live events. And I just started at the same time was doing little workshops around the city. A lot of people ask like, how I want to do workshops. How do I get started? My answer is always like, you get started. Like I literally went on meetup.com. Meetup.com is how I got started. And I dedicated myself to every third Thursday of the month. No matter how many people showed up, I would have this workshop. I had a location that I had it at every month. And I think the fee was like nominal. It was like $25. I think I had gone up to 35 maybe at one point. And sometimes I'd have 6 people. Sometimes I'd have 25 people. But I did this. It was called the Self-Love Tribe. Back then I was a self-love coach, and I did this regularly, speaking at these workshops and leading these workshops. And that eventually led to taking this workshop series to Wanderlust in Hollywood, which is a big brand. They have a huge, beautiful studio. And so we now partnered up to do these monthly workshops, the Self-Love Tribe, at Wanderlust. So I did that for another 8 months, which was an experience. And then from there, decided, like I have a dream of merging my world in the event space with my world in personal development. So why not just start doing my own events? Like, what am I waiting for? And so in 2016, I made the goal to do my first 3-day live event in 2017, and had an amazing coach at the time who helped me put that together. And I fucking did it.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
So feeling that connection to the audience when you
Mm-hmm.
got such an online business, really enjoying that connection in live in person, you fall in
Yeah.
love with events, you're doing the events, then you discover how much work it is to do your own events.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about lifestyle now.
Yeah.
So what is your ultimate lifestyle? Are you traveling? Are you speaking on stages? What is that ultimate lifestyle, and how are you designing your business to be in alignment to that ultimate lifestyle?
Yeah. My ultimate lifestyle revolves around freedom. So, and I'm not talking about like traditional nomad laptop freedom lifestyle, like that shit.
Right.
No, I mean like just freedom in myself, freedom in my life, freedom to be with my family whenever I want, freedom to travel when I want, freedom to just be at home and chill and cook and do things that I love to do that aren't business related,
Mhm.
And so for me, space is a big thing that I'm curating right now. But as for the actual pieces of the business, what I learned is that I actually really value intimacy. And I see a gap in our industry where intimacy is being shoved aside for scaling, for bigger, for better. And I really like that gap. I really like the gap of intimacy. And I really personally feel like I thrive in it with my clients and my programs and my offers. And so to continue growing my movement and my business in a way that values intimacy, speaking on stages around the world, which is how I can hit more people. And yeah, writing is something that is such an art for me, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, intimacy in my programs and offers, speaking on stages around the world, writing books, and just having that space in my life to be with my husband, my family, and do whatever the fuck I want.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Freedom, intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
know. I like that you noticed, we were talking before we pressed record about how
mm-hmm.
you sort of notice the way things are going, and when everyone else is zigging, you're zagging.
Mm.
And when you see the world going to scaling and automation and the click funnels and all that stuff, the way that the coaching and service industry is going in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
ways, you're going the opposite, and you've identified and even named the
Mm-hmm.
intimacy gap.
Yeah.
Nice work.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's, I think it's really important to share that I don't do this to rebel. For me, it's always about finding what feels best for me. A lot of people talk about alignment. I could say what feels aligned to me, but let's demystify the word alignment and let's just go with what feels really good. And I did the digital course. I had the large event. I dip my toes in the water in that sense of like, let me move to hitting more people. Let me see how big I can take this. And it didn't feel good. What feels good is when I'm hosting a retreat with 10 fucking phenomenal leaders who blow my mind. What feels good is hosting a thought leader collective with 10 incredible leaders who all have like really big movements. What feels good is being able to cultivate that deep connection and support leaders and being seen and being heard and being understood so that they can then go out and help their audience feel seen, feel heard, and feel understood. That feels good. And when things feel good, that's how I know it's aligned. That's aligned with my mission. It's aligned with who I am. I'm not saying that there's never going to be a digital program. Right now, though, this is what feels good. I'm not saying that I'll never scale and create something big. I don't even know what maybe it's going to be something brand new that we've never heard of in 5 years from now. But for now, this is what feels really good. And I want to always honor the space so that I can have that lifestyle with my husband, with my family, and not feel like I am taking away from my freedom through work, which I think is a big issue that a lot of entrepreneurs feel or find themselves in.
Entrepreneurs find themselves in a situation where they are taking away their freedom.
Yes. Yes.
Well said. Also, a very simple, powerful tool for all of our listeners to take away from this great conversation is alignment equals feels good.
Yeah.
Easy one to figure out. Is this in alignment? Well, does this feel good? Nope. Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got to do something.
Yeah, exactly.
Before our conversation, I asked you, you said they can do it their way. I asked you, what's the one message for the audience they could do it their way? I wanted to share with you, I heard a really freeing phrase. When I heard it, I just felt like I could let my tension go and relax for a minute.
Yeah.
The phrase was, there's no wrong way to do business, which I have also extrapolated personally into there's no wrong way to do life. And when I say that to myself, I realize all these like should comes from these different coaches and models that I've been following and different, and when you get to there's no wrong way to, sort of give yourself permission to do things differently. What are some of the things that you've experienced in terms of other people's perception of how you should be doing things, whether it's clients or family, and how do you navigate those through like effective communication with those people, with the boundaries and the, what have been sort of the things that people have reacted to the way that you do life and the way that you do business?
Great question. So one example comes to mind with business right away is, my email list is still just shy of 2,000, and I've been in business since 2014. And I don't give a fuck. I make all my ROI on social media and it feels great. Like I enrolled my entire Thought Leader Collective, a 5-figure program, via IG stories, not ads.
Cool.
It works because I have taken the time to nurture and create actual connections with my audience. And so when people make comments to me, whether it's, other coaches or quote coaches that I've worked with, I take into consideration what they're saying. I understand this is something definitely that I want to continue nurturing, like my email community. And hey, look at me. Like, I'm making 6 figures. I only have like 1,700 people on my email list, and my life is great. At the end of the day, like, I feel really good about what I've created. So when it comes to business and people either judging or the way that I run business or telling me that I should be doing it differently, I look at them and I'm like, really? Why? Because I really love what I'm doing. Like, why did you let go of your digital program? The one thing that you invested so much money into, and the one digital product you had, the thing you could sell like off the cuff and podcasts and on stage. It's like, well, it didn't feel good. Didn't feel aligned. Didn't align with one of my core values, which is intimacy. So that's that. And then personal, well, I guess this one bleeds into personal, is I have strict boundaries with my time on my laptop. Me and my laptop have a great relationship.
Oh, I love this.
She knows. She knows when I'm going to be letting her go at the end of the day. So I let my laptop go anywhere between 4 and 5:30 p.m. every day, Monday to Friday, so that I can go downstairs, chill out, cook a healthy meal for myself and my husband, and, do all those like family things and self-care things that I love. I also don't touch my laptop until at least 9 or 9:30, and I wake up at 4 a.m. So between 4 a.m. and 9 and 9:30, I'm doing just straight up self-care. I've created these boundaries because I used to be all hustle. And so when people ask me, well, why aren't you hustling more? Or you should be hustling more, I tell them, well, I'm hustling in a different way. Like I took a month off in November, literally a month off in November, and was in the Amazon for 18 days. And I was able to do that because that's what's important to me. Because the more I dive into my inner work, the more that reflects in my business. And so when people say to me, well, how do you take a month off while you're in the middle of a launch? Like, how did you do that? Why are you doing that? What are you thinking? And I'm like, I'm thinking that I'm going to be better, and I'm going to be a better coach for my clients, and I'm going to be better service, and I'm going to be a better leader because of this. So that's what I'm thinking. And I came back and ended up having applications waiting for me. It was great. So there's a lot of things that I do different that people question, but at the end of the day, none of their questions or judgments bother me because I feel really good about the way that I'm running my business. I've tried a lot of different things. I'm not narrow-minded. I have a philosophy that's called throwing spaghetti on the wall. So you throw a big bowl of spaghetti on the wall. Some of it's going to stick to the wall. Some of it's going to fall down. No sweat off my back. If something doesn't work, it doesn't work. I learned something. And that's really what I've adopted into the building of my business. And that's how I run my business. And so when it comes to other people's judgments and thoughts and perceptions on me and how I run things, cool. That says more about them than it says about me.
True. Throwing the spaghetti against the wall, the wise contrarian Ruby Fremon. Always trying things, and it either works or you learn something.
Yeah.
That's a good insight. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I believe our time is coming to an end soon. I am looking forward to connecting with you further in 2020 with your Thought Leader Collective community.
Yes.
Tell us more about where we can get more Ruby Fremon, more of these pearls of wisdom, and if people are so interested in taking up the torch and joining you in your quest for more intimacy and more self-care and more genuine thought leadership, where can we find more of you?
Yeah. So subscribe to my podcast, Today's Thought Leader, on all the apps. So iTunes, Spotify, Luminary, YouTube. There's even videos on Facebook. You can follow me on social media at I Am Ruby on every single channel known to man. And if you are on Instagram and Twitter, those are my favorite places to hang out. Drop me a DM. Let me know that you listened to this. I would love to connect, and I'd love to hear your biggest insights. And then if you want to take it a step further, as I am nurturing my email list, feel free to hit subscribe, Ruby Fremon /subscribe. I send out these punchy personal development-ish emails every week called Love Punches that'll punch you into growth.
I love the love punches. Love the love punches. And one thing I want to point out is your consistency. You mentioned you did the monthly workshops. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
You've been consistent on your social media, right? Not on all the platforms, all the people say you should be doing, but you've been consistent with the love punches. How many love punches are we on now?
Oh God, I should ask my assistant to count. I mean, they started in 2015. Jeez, that's a lot.
Cool.
One every day.
Any final thoughts you'd like to leave our listener? Yeah,
whatever reason is holding you back from showing up, whether it's online or offline, understand that reason is within your control. The quickest way that you can overcome that block, whatever it is to do the damn thing anyways. So just show up.
Show up, rip off the Band-Aid. And
throw spaghetti on the wall.
Throw spaghetti on the wall and do the dang thing.
All at the same time.
Exactly. There must be a dance and a song. And with the Band-Aid and the spaghetti, it's all happening.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Ruby. It's been a pleasure. And thank you, dear listener or dear viewer, for watching this episode of the Expert Speaker Podcast. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Expert Speaker Podcast. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and leave us a rating so that more people can discover the Expert Speaker Podcast and so more people can be empowered to share their message. Be sure to go to www.expertspeaker.com and take the masterclass to learn how to grow your business and make money speaking. It's totally free and will change your business. If you're ready to work with Expert Speaker, you can apply. Just go to expertspeaker.com/apply and someone from our team will be in touch with you to help you grow your business with public speaking. That's expertspeaker.com/apply. We'll see you in the next episode.